Hey, what's going on, guys? So I got something new for you guys today from Redcat. We've got the Valkyrie TR4S and the Valkyrie MT4S. Both these vehicles are just releasing, hot off the press here. Both these trucks look awesome. We look like we got a mini Vigilante and a mini Machete here. So we'll see what they look like once we get them out and get the boxes off. I've already got a little look at them through some of the pictures and all that they sent us. Looks like they're from the same factory that the Machete was coming from, but I'll be able to tell that a little bit more once we get it out. We might even pull out a Machete and compare it to the big one. And also we might do a 4S comparison to the Outcast, since these trucks come in at about $169 cheaper than a retail price of an Outcast 4S. But if I do that, it'll probably be a separate video, keeping this one really to just kind of taking a visual appearance of these trucks, seeing them side by side, and kind of overlooking them and getting my overall opinion on how I feel about what I see. But first things first, I do want to go over some of the specs on this because I'm not going to dig into that too much along the way. Let's go in here. So going off the box, we've got a 1950 kV 3670 size motor, 5mm shaft, Mod 1 pinion, so it's Mod 1 gearing around. Don't know if it's a metal spur or not on this. I can tell you, for example, the Kaiju is a 4S 6S vehicle, has 3668 motor that fits in that. It's 2100 kV, so this is going to be a little less powerful on 4S than what a Kaiju is, but I'm not sure about the size. So this might actually be a little bit smaller than a Kaiju. I really won't know until we get them out of the box. But I run a 2600 kV on 4S in my Kaiju, and that's the sweet spot. So if I were to take one of these vehicles, that's probably what I would do to get the max 4S, instead of some people that would go take like that Kaiju motor and throw this thing on 6S. Don't know if it's going to be that great on 6S. You know, time will tell. But it's got basically a hobby wing, old school Max 10 in it, which was the 120. They just switched to a 140 not long ago. It does have a BEC that's capable of 7.4, which is important because just like the Machete, when they put these high torque servos in them, these servos can go up to 8.4, but the Machete was limited to 6 volts. So you were only getting like in the 20s on the kilograms. Now you're at 35. Get a standalone BEC, you can get it up to 42 kilograms. So some extra, you know, one of the strongest servos you're going to find in a ready to run vehicle out there. Let's see here. Talking about wheelie bar and stuff. We'll take a look at that stuff once we get it cracked open. So that's the gist of that. I'll go over some other stuff once we get her out the box here and take a look. But we'll be right back. Alright, so this is what it looks like when you crack the box open, guys. It's packaged all nicely in there, and the tires are already on it. So we're going to go ahead and get this thing out. I'll take a quick peek at the remote. I'm pretty sure it's probably the one they're putting with all their new trucks. Just a 4-channel remote. Pretty basic, but feels good in the hand. Nothing really to fault them on with that. And, you know, I don't really care about the remotes too much. Also in the box, they give you some decals here. Looks like some racing stripes, program card sheet, and of course the manual. So that's probably going to be the same for the TR. But let's go ahead and get that next to these two before we start taking too much of a look. And here we have them, guys. That's both of them out the box. Let's see, the ride height is definitely a little higher there than the lower center of gravity Machete looking one, which is the Valkyrie still. But they're both Valkyrie. Now this one, like I said, they put the Valkyrie logo on this one. They don't on this, other than right here, which I'm noticing. The only reason I'm noticing that is because without that logo, it looks like a little mini Vigilante. So maybe that's what they kind of want to go for, you know, leave people the chance of putting that on there. And then, but why wouldn't they make this look like the Machete? I don't know. Either way, that's just me guessing. They do give you the decals, though, if you want to put a little logo on there. Since they are both, again, mini-me's of the bigger versions, the wing is super flexible. They do have the same body clip style per truck. So this one's got the rings with the pins that go on it. On this one with the skids, this one's got the clip style with the reinforced holders here like the big one has. So they went very good in the detail as far as keeping these looking just like the larger versions. So I'm going to move these boxes out of the way real quick. We'll get these two turning around side by side and get these bodies off, and let's take a look at them. Alright, so here we have them, guys. They're out of the box, and that's what they look like. So it's hard to tell by scale, just like I couldn't tell by the picture. So I will be doing some size comparisons for you guys before this video is over. We're going to compare this one to the Vigilante, and we're going to compare this one size-wise to the Machete. So stay tuned. I might even throw in the 3S Granite and the Big Rock, or the Outcast 4S, just to kind of show you scale size of those, even though I plan on doing an Outcast, and maybe even, since the price point's right there, the Granite and Big Rock comparisons as well. So we'll see. But for right now, let's just get these bodies off and take a look at what we got here. It's exactly what I thought it was. There we go. Now we can see it a little bit better. I mean, this is almost identical to what is the Machete layout. It's got the one-piece bulkhead. I know it's got the same steering style as the Machete does too, which is, when I took that apart, anybody seen my Machete video, I was very impressed with the uniqueness of that sliding style. It's like two bearings that slid back and forth on the saber side here. It just seemed much different than what anybody else was doing. Again, we'll see how this one holds up, but I'm just going to go ahead and give you guys a quick overpass on both of these trucks real quick, and then we'll come back and talk about them. As you guys can see, they did go plastic bucket on this, which is not always a bad thing. So I don't have a problem with that on a 3S or 4S truck. A lot of companies are doing that. I think all of Arrma's 3S and 4S's are plastic as well. It's a nice looking chassis. It's nice looking solid arms. So those look like they'll hold up pretty well. Shocks are plastic bodies and plastic tops. I mean, that body post is stout. It's very, it's not moving at all. Very sturdy. I'm guessing this is an adjustment for a different size battery to keep your battery, if you're bashing, in line. That's good. Haven't seen that before. At least not from Redcat, and not that style at least. What the hell's that yellow thing? I don't know what that is. Some yellow on my shock, damn it. See, arms look like they are not. Oh yeah, they are. So they'd be interchangeable. This is rear, and that says rear. So you can probably flip them and put them on either side. And these are front, so same thing, front. So these are probably compatible left and right. Plastic links are nice and beefy. I mean, that's some pretty good thickness there for a 10 scale. Arms don't have the link like the Machete did. That was, you know, weak spots when they put, you know, something like this in there on these arms. The Machete, not the Machete, well, the Machete had its issues as well with those, and they fixed them. Kaiju is what I was going off of. Kaiju had issues with those for a while. I haven't had issues with that in a long time, but I know they did originally at one point. I think they fixed that, but it's got a center diff back here. I do know now. I'll have to pull up the specs, and I'll get back to you when I come back to the overview, but I'm pretty sure this is all metal geared and metal transmission in this, even though we do see plastic dog bones here, which is the first for the Redcats. The first truck I've seen with plastic drive shafts from Redcat. But, you know, I'm not going to fault it because everything else in this class, in this price range, has plastic shafts too, for the most part. At least anything of this quality. And when I say that, I mean, I'm talking about comparing this to like a Maverick, something HP has that has metal shafts, but this is nowhere near the comparable quality of what a $250 some Maverick was, with this being a $300 price point. Definitely feels like a very solid, large, big truck. We got 17mm hexes on a 10 scale. That's always nice to see. Plenty of 2.8 tires, Badlands, things like that that'll fit these trucks. Nice little touch there. So rear hubs look beefy, very big. I mean, these shock towers look well reinforced. I mean, it's a plastic shock tower, but look how thick that thing is. This is all the shock tower from there in here, and the body post of course goes in. It's solid. I mean, it's a nice looking body post. It looks like they almost learned from watching Arrma go through their issues that they had with that real thin honeycombed style shock tower. So I don't see this breaking. Like, that's really hard to break. It does look like it's a one piece, top piece, almost like if anybody has an Arrma Granite or the Outcast, how their bulkheads are the whole top piece of this. It does look like that. Looks just like the Machete. This bulkhead is one piece. It's going to go over top of here. It's going to come up here. It's going to have the arm mount, which I'll be honest with you, I'll be the first one to say it, I'm not a fan. But it is what it is. We'll see. I'll give it the benefit of the doubt. Just because if, you know, you have an arm break off and it breaks off at this point or rips the hand and pulls out right here, you've got to now replace this upper bulkhead. Now, with that being said, just like with the Machete, they weren't overly priced. So it's not the value that's the problem. It was just the access, which even once I started tearing into it was not that bad. I still didn't like the design. The Outcast and Creighton's do that, where, you know, you break off the piece down here at the bottom where the hinge block is, and you've got to replace the chassis. So this one is similar, but wow, that is definitely beefed up looking in there. But that is similar. This is part of the chassis. So if for some reason this were to break here, you're taking the chassis with it. But again, I'll be honest with you, I could pull an Outcast up here right now. We'll do that in the comparisons. I do not remember theirs being that fat, beefed up. So maybe they learned something and they've fixed it to not be that way. But it's meant to be a basher, guys. This is their 4S bashing series, so we'll see. So far, nothing I see puts it anything under what an Outcast or a Granite is, by far. Not to mention, you know, it feels like a bigger vehicle. It feels like it's at least an Outcast vehicle size. And again, we'll do that with the comparisons here. But it's a very good feeling truck, man. Plastic body shocks. It's got good recoil out the box. Let's take a look at this wheelie bar, which was also something, at least for the version 2s and 3s of the Arrmas. That thing's solid. Look at it. It's all this hard piece here. Goes around, connects into there. It's a very solid piece. Bumper ovals seem good. Tower-to-tower brace, very much like the Machete. Very simple design. Held on here, held on here. Only problem I see with this is if you do take a really hard hit and this plastic bucket chassis flexes on you a little bit, you might pull out your threads here, which that's fixable. So if this cap ever comes off, you know, you might have to put some JB Weld down in your holes and reposition and relock down your screws that way. But you know, I've done that before for other people that stripped out screws. Not saying that's going to be a problem. That's the only thing I can see though right now, because that looks like it's part of that upper bulkhead piece that is part of this tower on the front and rear. But guys, I can't explain how this thing is solid, man. Like, there's no movement whatsoever. And again, I'll get into what I mean by no movement when I start getting into comparison videos of the other two trucks, because there's all kinds of movement and flex, which isn't always a bad thing, don't get me wrong. But that's where I've also seen those body posts snap off and things like that, even on the Kaiju and all, that has a much more flexible body post. So that combined with the body, which is reinforced just on the top, it looks like, not on the bottom like they did with the Vigilante, but still also not as crazy under there as the Vigilante was. So that body is definitely going to hold up a little bit. It's going to have that hard top piece. Like I said, this truck looks like it's going to hold up. The body goes right up in there too as well. I don't know how far down that sits. Bashing tends to expose stuff like that. So I think with this being pressed down with the body, it's not going to come up over that like it does on my Kaiju and some of the other vehicles. It could, but we'll see. I don't know. I like it. I like the look. It's very like contoured. Again, might be difficult to put an extra body on this thing or something later on because of that, but you could always cut that off if it's limiting. So we've been there, done that before too. Same thing with the rear. I mean, there's a lot of hope for this truck, guys. And I'm telling you what, the more and more I'm moving this thing around and feeling it, like, this is going to blow away. And I'm early on this, guys. Again, there's a whole other video coming, and I'm eager enough. I might even do that video tomorrow. That way I can have it done and edited, ready to go for release day as well. So if you're seeing this video, there's a chance the comparison video might be up as well to the Arrma 3S, 4S lineup if you guys are curious. Just because I think the way these things are built, man, they feel so much beefier for less money. So either way, we'll see. I don't know. See what kind of time I get. Just had 2 customers come in now and interrupt my video making, so that's been happening all day. See what kind of time I get. But guys, this is, again, just a quick overview of these trucks, man. I'm not here to tear into them yet. I am going to find out real quick, if I can, about the spur gear and shit. Make sure all that's metal for you. The drive shaft in the center here is a drive shaft that's metal, and it's got these. I'll pull up the some of the screenshots as well, and I'll insert them into this video as we're talking. But they do have the drive shaft transmission exploded, showing that thing, how it looks outside of the truck, so we can get a quick peek at that. Well, that, guys, like I said, I could sit here and go over these vehicles. We can talk sizes. I can pull up caliper tools and things like that and go over some of these differences, but I think that is best suited for a comparison video. So I think I'm going to leave this video to kind of what we just did, was an overview, kind of look of everything, see them side by side, and then now I think I'm going to go in real quick and we'll give you a preview of the forecast and the granite size comparisons, and then I'm also going to give you a side by side of the big boys compared to these. And then like I said, we'll save all the comparison talk and all the deep diving stuff to the actual comparison video to the Arrma lineup. Alright, be right back with some side by sides. Alright, there they are, guys. Vigilante, and then of course the Valkyrie 4S MT, and the Machete, and the Valkyrie TR. So obviously there's a much bigger difference with the 5th scale than the 6th scale, but they are almost identical. They didn't put the little Redcat plate on the front here, and they don't have the little lights there. But other than that, if you got one of the big trucks, now you got a little mini-me option. That's about all I want to show for those guys' size comparison. It's a big difference, guys. There we go. We got the Outcast 4S. We got them all lined up at the back wheels with the granite. I think that's off the tad there. The tires on the granite are actually bigger, but these are 17 and can actually take a 2.8. So you could actually put, let's say, like those tires on it if you wanted. I'm sure the torque, being a 1950, could handle that, but there you go. It's almost the same length, beefiness, which we'll get into again in the next video, as the 4S lineup, which is $169 more, and then this one, which is $40 more. and smaller. And like I said, there's some differences here. Mod 1 gearing, not Mod 1 gearing. But again, saving that for the video, just showing you guys size comparison here. Stay tuned if you're looking forward to anything. Oh, Brownie, what are you doing? Say hi. Say we'll be back. Don't go nowhere. If you guys want to see this comparison, I'll be back with it. Appreciate you guys for watching.